The Dragon Ball community is one of the most impressively motivated when it comes to modding games. Almost every major or minor game release has a modded ROM or a dedicated community of its own. And whilst I could go on for hours about Budokai Tenkaichi 4 or the several brilliant mods in the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 engine, or any of the absolutely amazing works done with the PSP games, I did want to have a singular focus for this specific video. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is a game that came out in 2017 and is, for some reason, still officially supported by Bandai Namco. So, why would I focus on this one, specifically, over anything else? Well, to put it quite simply, there's an amazing mod project that I want to show you, but before we talk about that, I did want to talk about... Much like any game, there's always characters that shouldn't be added into them. I tried to stick mostly to characters that make sense for Dragon Ball, but when browsing xenoversemods.com, I couldn't help but get myself a few ridiculous characters. This makes sense. Most of these mods come with extra moves, such as the Street Fighter mods. They came with custom moves that have appropriately Dragon Ball styled names, but moves like Raging Demon didn't change. Now, I got my brother notasasquatch to join me to show off some of the stupidly broken and fun characters I'd actually installed into the game, so here's a little fun highlight reel.
Oh shit, the fucking particle effect! I can't see! Oh, fucking, you need to turn that shit down, boy! What the I'm blind! Help!
You only have one solution to this problem.
I know, but I need to get him. Yeah, bitch! Eat my...
Y'all ready to die?
No.
A few moments later.
Akuma... Oh, no! One. I'm gonna punch you! Weave! Get your fist out of my arsehole before IRL I put it up yours.
No more!
Get in the cotton jar, boy!
Speaking of... I don't remember saying that.
Why does that never hit anything? My spine!
Morrow. Even more.
Even more. all I'm gonna fucking hear is I need to get out of here before that actually starts happening, you know? And Sonic is not around.
For as sporadic and ridiculous as that montage was, it does show you quite well what some of the mods for the game actually are. Obviously, I've got some modded maps and unlocked maps I shouldn't be able to play on, but for the most part, it just generally shows a pretty decent idea of what the mods can be. There's characters that aren't in the game by default, characters that shouldn't be near Dragon Ball at all, and a general sense of quite a fun, modded game. And I don't want this video to come across like I don't appreciate the major fucking steps from the first Xenoverse that the base game made. It's honestly amazing how much more fluid and brilliantly the game controls, but aside from that, there's a whole video I've got talking about what I feel about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and more specifically the fact that I got the Switch port a while back. And I think that as time goes on and mods get more and more ridiculous or funny or immersive and help you create your ultimate Dragon Ball OC, I think some respect needs to be put onto a certain mod that is aiming to improve everything about the base game to make it feel just that little bit more like a more modern release. Obviously, the mod I'm talking about is... Now, we get to what I believe is a game-changing mod. There's no pun intended here. I'm recording this script at like 6 o'clock. This is fucking stupid. The revamp project aims to improve almost every aspect of the base game, from the models to the cutscenes, and from what we've got at the moment, I can't begin to describe how impressive it all actually is. I was genuinely taken aback when the beginning of a new run, I saw the hole in Ratid's chest and Piccolo without his arm, things that I think should have been in the base game, in my personal opinion. And along with improving what's already there, they've taken to enhancing the roster by adding a few new characters and forms, as well as some, specialty assets for the existing roster. And they're also adding new mission content like add-ons with bespoke cutscenes and, from the sound of things, dialogue. With this said, I do have high hopes for this mod, and nothing but respect to the revamp team for working on this. I've beaten Xenoverse 2 so many times that replaying it's basically a chore, but I have been having more fun with this mod installed, and I genuinely can't wait to see how they continue to develop this mod and add more to a game I genuinely care a huge amount about. To get some extra perspective on the development of the revamp mod, I joined the Discord server, so I could see as and when things were happening and what kind of effort goes into it. And on screen now is a very short clip of me scrolling through the work in progress channel alone on the server, and I genuinely think that it's quite amazing, because when you think about it, this is fully independent and free. These people aren't asking for money for all of this hard work they're putting into this game, and I think it's just super impressive. Obviously, there's other games I've got with hugely dedicated communities, like, for example, the Fallout games. I've got 3 New Vegas and 4, all of which are modded, and I think that those communities are just as dedicated, but something about a team of people coming together to make one big mod for Xenoverse is quite impressive, because they're doing the work of an entire dev team for free. They're not asking for money for people to play this mod, and it genuinely does revamp, for lack of better phrasing, the entire experience. It is such a well-rounded and well-done mod that I think it deserves praise and attention, and I will be linking to the revamp mod specifically in the description, mainly because I've lost all of the pages for the other mods featured. Fucking line deliveries are hard. There'll be a link in the description to the revamp mod and to the Xenoverse mods website, where you'll be able to find most of the mods I've got downloaded. I just think that modding and Xenoverse are an interesting combination, especially when you consider how much time it takes to make these things. I think that the entire dev team deserve nothing but praise for what they're doing, because I think it is a genuine improvement over what is becoming a stale game over time. There's only so many DLCs that can make you want to keep playing it. I own every DLC for the Switch version, for example, and as much as I love playing the game, I've fallen off of it recently because there's just other games I want to play. But I do genuinely really want to try and give as much praise to this team as I can, because their work is just straight up developer quality work. They use assets from Kakarot, they modify things specifically to genuinely improve the experience of the game, and I think that even their smaller additions, tweaks to movesets and balancing, they do a lot to make this mod feel like DLC, and not just some character mods that you're throwing into the game of your own free will. I'm now going to read out an interview, a short interview that I did with one of the members of the revamp team. I will be reading each message and showing them on screen as and when they are said, so you get an idea as to what's been said. Hey man, I'm making a video about Xenoverse 2 mod and was wondering if you'd be down for an interview so I can get some dev perspective into revamp. I understand if you'd rather not. Hello. Sure thing. But the problem is, I don't necessarily represent all of revamp. I think you'd better ask in the revamp server. I'm just wanting to know how you got involved in the project. How did you become part of the team? They needed a few skill makers at the time. I think it was 2019, and I was just starting to get into skill making and showing off whips around in modding servers. They liked some of the stuff I did and asked me to join. Is there a particular reason you yourself got into modding Xenoverse? Initially, I got invited to join the modding community, specifically the Citadel Discord server, after I made a tool to mod Hero Colosseum that went on back in the day. I was only a tool developer back then and didn't get involved with actual mods. That changed back in mid-2019 when I saw a few talented people making skill mods, and it piqued my interest to try and make my own. I'm curious, both genuinely and for the sake of my video, what was the first game you got started modding in, whether that be putting in your own unique stuff or using other folks? Putting my own stuff in? Xenoverse 2. Using other people's mods? Resi 4. Damn, my first were both textures for Fallout New Vegas. I've genuinely used a fair few of your mods specifically. I genuinely didn't think Xenoverse was just starting to add in your own stuff. To be fair, it has been 3 years now. My stuff back then was a lot simpler. That's fair. This question is one I'm fully legit curious about. What got you into Dragon Ball? 2007, I believe, when my dad bought me Budokai 3 for the PS2. I played the game before watching the show. That's not too dissimilar from my own experience. I think it was Budokai Tenkaichi 2 for me, and I'd seen the original show when I was little, but the games are what brought me back into it. Now, it wasn't a long interview, and it didn't go too in depth into things, because, as they had said at the beginning of the conversation, they don't represent all of Revamp, but it was interesting to get that little peek into the perspective of this specific modder, because I do find it genuinely interesting to find out how and why people get into this kind of stuff, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball, a fandom for the largest majority of my life I've been a part of. I've been playing Dragon Ball games for as long as I can remember. To me, Dragon Ball is just as memorable a game franchise as Mario and Sonic, because that's what I grew up with. So seeing people who have this interest, even though realistically it's a relatively short time they've been working on these things, is something I'm genuinely massively curious about. And it was quite enlightening, and I'm genuinely grateful for them to have been in touch with myself, and I'll have links to their pages in the description, as well as the Twitter for the revamp as a whole, so you can do as I do and watch along with the progress that we can see happening over the course of the entire development of the project. And that marks the end of this video. A huge thank you to everyone who's watched this far, and to the revamp team, and specifically Unleashed/Charizard, who took the time to actually answer a few of my questions, and whilst it wasn't a very long conversation, it was genuinely really meaningful myself, because I've been watching the progress of Xenoverse 2 mods for quite some time, and it's nice to get that insight into what's been happening. On the screen right now, you're going to see a couple of my other videos. Specifically, I plan on having the Xenoverse 2 Switch video on screen somewhere, and then you'll have whatever YouTube recommends down there somewhere. But genuinely, thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked the video, do all the algorithmic stuff, you know, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that, and I look forward to making more content over the course of 2023. I wanted to get at least one video out this year, because I kind of feel bad that I've not had much. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye! And a huge thank you to everyone who's watched thus far, and watched my previous videos, because I know I upload about as consistently as H-Bomber Guy. I can't say that, that's mean.